Joe, Motion Videos 82 here. It is time for another G.I. Joe toy review. Today we're going to be going back to 1993 to the Battle Corps line. I haven't reviewed very many 90s figures, and I figured why not. Let's go ahead and take a look at another one. So today we're going to be looking at one of the more interesting figures from the Battle Corps line, Bazooka version 3. In the collector community, he's also known as the Fisherman Bazooka. He was number 1 of 36 in Series 12. He did hit the pegs in 93 and was discontinued in 94 as a part of the Battle Corps line, which was up and running strong by that time. I like the Battle Corps figures. I know that prior to Battle Corps, figures were starting to come out with the rocket launchers. But I do like the spring-fired weapons, and if I had those as a kid, my goodness, I would have had a ball with those things. I was a teenager. I was in high school by the time Battle Corps come around, so I was still buying G.I. Joe, but not as heavily as I was in my younger years. I was more interested in women and dirt bikes and BB guns at that time. So if I had those rocket launchers, this is what I would have done. I would have lined up all my G.I. Joes and just shot them down with the rocket launchers. Simple as that. I used to shoot them down with rubber bands too when I got older. Just target practice in a way. But anyway, not the conventional way of playing. So, this Bazooka, I like him because he is weird. If you've been following this channel, you know that I like the weirder aspects of G.I. Joe. I root for the underdog of the G.I. Joe line. I like those guys. He's interesting. He's well sculpted, and we'll cover that when we're looking at him. But Battle Corps, or the 90s, got a little bit odd with the brighter colors. But that was what can I say? Not the norm, but that was the fad of the time, were the bright colors. And for the kids who started collecting G.I. Joe in the 90s for their first time, they're a lot more fond of the 90s figures, and rightfully so, because that's what they grew up with. But for us older guys that started collecting in the 80s, we tend to lean towards those action figures a little bit more. And this is just from what I'm gathering out of the collectors community. It's not a fact, but it's the general consensus from what I could gather. But I did not have Bazooka as a kid. I had purchased a few of the Battle Corps line, but not as much. What I really like with the re-release of action figures is it gives kids a chance to purchase that action figure that they had missed in the previous release, especially with the sub teams, because they stuck with their uniform style, but oftentimes they were recolored. But with Battle Corps, a lot of times they just went completely off to the side and reinvented the figure, gave them a new version. And for me, it was Hooded Cobra Commander, the one that I wanted so bad as a kid. I never got the mail away version. And when I saw him released in a Battle Corps line, I snatched him up really quick. He's just cool. You know, you can't go wrong with Cobra Commander. So I'm trying to collect every version of him as I can, and there are quite a few of them. So back to Bazooka. His upper torso, arms, and head are a new sculpt, but his legs and waist were used from bullhorn. And his original retail price was $2.94. And that, well, it seems really cheap in today's figures. But back then, it was just, it seems slightly high, but not unaffordable for a kid to buy. So let's go ahead and take a look at this action figure. So here he is, Bazooka version 3, also affectionately called the Fisherman Bazooka, and you can definitely see why. He looks like a fisherman. 1986 introduced us to Bazooka. Correction, 1985 introduced us to Bazooka. This is the version that we all know, the same version that was introduced in the Sunbow series. As you can see, they look nothing alike. About the only thing would be the mustache and the hair color. Face sculpt is a little bit different. Version 3, his cheeks are a little narrower, his chin is a little more dimpled, but it's still Bazooka in a way. But this is definitely the Bazooka that I truly like. He was portrayed sort of as a buffoon, but I liked him because of that. He and Alpine were the comedy relief. They were the Laurel and Hardy of G.I. Joe. So let's go ahead and take a look at Bazooka here. He is nearly complete. The only thing I do not have is his figure stand, and it came in this beautiful lime green color, and I do like this color. Don't like it so much for weapons, but the lime green is really nice. It was later used with the Manta and the Star Brigade Invader and so on. So we know that the weapons were mass produced and issued to any Joe on a whim. So again, we have a submachine gun. Oh, get my fat thumb out of the way there. My submachine gun. This one originally came with Hit and Run. We have Big Ben's rifle, and we have Ambush's rifle, and he came with 2 missiles in a lime green color, and this missile launcher, which was pretty cool, is designed for him to fit on his shoulder. After all, he was a bazooka man. I don't want to put this in his hand because the hand grip right here is really thick, and I don't want to take a chance of breaking his thumbs. Now, as you can see on the inside, there is a little slot
where the missiles go. The bevel side goes down with this one, and you can see it's grooved. So those grooves run along the top here. Push it in until it locks and give it a fire. Now it has some power behind it. That is pretty cool. I haven't run into one yet that has lost its spring. Now the sculpt on this is really nice. You can see that he has some sort of a rope or a wire wrapped around it. Interesting detail on it. The sculpt is very, very nice. Like I said, here on the side looks like there are buttons. On the front is a viewfinder, and of course the switch here on the back in that lime green color. And I do like the color of this. It's kind of a teal blue color. Now these figure stands are repros. They're nothing like what G.I. Joe had. I bought these, I think it was 25 for $3. I do not like this figure stand. The peg is a little bit too big, and I had to shave them down to fit, and so a figure could fit on them. So I really don't recommend buying those because I cracked a few heels trying to put those on. Unfortunately, I had extras of that figure. So Bazooka, the colors on him are quite interesting. Definitely not subdued. I especially like the red color on him. You see that little bit of stress mark there on his elbow. But let's start with his hat. He is wearing a boonie hat in this tan color, or beige I should say. It's a nice looking hat. I would think the brim would be a little bit bigger, should be a little bigger, and that wouldn't look so much like a fishing hat. He's wearing a tactical vest, which adds to the fishing vest look, or the fisherman look. On the front he has ammunition clips, a pouch here. Looks like some sort of a grenade up here. He has a pistol that's sculpted on there, and he has a strap, which is a very nice painted detail. It goes all the way around his back. It's kind of barrel chested in a way. That's alright. He's wearing this red jacket with a pouch here on his arm. His hands are painted. And this, oh my goodness. Yeah, I know that Hasbro loves to put hand grenades on their action figures, but why around the wrist? This takes away some of the coolness of the action figure. He has 2, 4, 5 hand grenades around his wrist, and I'm sure those are quite heavy for him to be lifting up his arm, and that is just not practical, and it looks silly. He has another gun sculpted down on his leg, which he has a painted strap that goes up to his utility belt. Wraps all the way around. He has a few pouches on there. And then he has this nice tiger pattern camo on his pants. Kind of reminiscent to version 3 of the Tiger Force. Really nice. And he's wearing, I kid you not, if that does not show up, it looks like he's wearing rubber boots. But these are actually boot covers that go over his combat boots. It looks like he's wearing rubber fishing boots. So that just adds to the comedic element of Bazooka version 3. I know he's a goofy, fun-loving guy. Why would he want to be a fisherman unless he's out there fishing around Cobra Island trying to gather intel? So here is the file card, clipped from the back. Somebody did a very nice job of peeling that off, peeling his bubble off. But it had a laser background, which I didn't particularly care for. I like the explosion backgrounds. And you could see a little bit better that these were meant to be boot covers. So on the front, this is what Bazooka would have looked like on the card art. And why they did another caption of his face looking really mean. He's probably mad that his arm is so heavy with hand grenades. His code name Bazooka, missile specialist. File name Katzenbogen David L. Serial number 1124057. Primary military specialty, heavy weapons specialist. Secondary, he's the Blockbuster driver. Okay, so the Blockbuster was a vehicle that was released at that time, and they started reissuing or selling vehicles without drivers, and you'd have to buy the drivers separately. Cost-cutting measure, and at the same time making money. Birthplace is Hibben, Minnesota. His grade is E5. He's still a sergeant. A quote from Bazooka himself. It reads, "When I explode into battle against those puny Cobra Vipers, it's like shooting fish in a barrel. Ha, ha." So they're implying that they intentionally made him look like a fisherman. Okay, middle paragraph. Bazooka has been all over the world driving an Abrams tank with the 3rd Horde, the 3rd Army Division, which was their nickname, or the name, the moniker that they were given, against Cobra forces. Extensive traveling made Bazooka homesick and longed for his favorite hobby, fishing. Ha ha ha. Yes, I did not pre-read this, and I do that for a purpose, so I can be just as surprised as the rest of you. Yes, fishing. And that makes sense because Minnesota is the land of 10,000 lakes, and there are quite a few fishermen. And that was portrayed in the Grumpy Old Men series. Very funny movie. If you haven't watched it, check it out. Walter Matthau and Jack Lemmon are a great comedy duo. God rest them. Heaven is a better place with them up there. I'm sure they're making the angels laugh. So continuing reading, it says, whenever he has to fight, the memory of home sends him raging into battle. And there's no fish story because he is one angry dude, definitely. Bazooka angry? Wow. Okay. A lot of pent-up aggression. And you definitely want on your side when the action heats up. Bazooka is trained at Advanced Infantry School at Fort Benning, it's in Georgia, and the Wildman Fishing Academy in Minnesota. What fishing helps him with in combat, I do not know. That is interesting. And why he dresses up like a fisherman to go into battle, maybe to help add to his anger because he knows he can't be out fishing. So, as we proceed, everything is broken down here on the file card what these accessories do. So one is his fabric Ranger felt hat. Number 2, in his fishing vest, is the Forager ammunition and accessory vest. Number 3 is Colt 45 quick draw pistol, which is up here on his chest. Number 4 is standard issue 9mm sidearm, which is down on his leg. That makes sense. He runs out of missiles to shoot. He needs something to protect himself. Number 5 is his J2J pineapple grenade wrist launcher. Okay, so he launches those off of his wrist. That is weird. Number 6 is his Duro Weave waterproof spats, which are his boot covers. Bazooka, it's number 7, with multi-spectrum tracking system and ammunition pack, standard issue 9. Yeah, that would be this. And number 8 is his standard issue 9mm submachine gun. Right here. All-terrain advanced infantry boots, which he is wearing. And number 10 is his standard issue gunner's pants. I didn't know gunners had standard issue pants. I thought it was all, the uniform was all issue. And they really used standard issue far too much. They should say standard issue lime green missiles to dazzle Cobra. I had to get my standard issue notebook, sit back in my standard issue chair with my standard issue pen and my standard issue orange vanilla Coca-Cola, which they're not sponsors, but I love this. Almost better than cherry Coke. If you want to give that a try, I highly recommend it. Buy a single bottle first, just in case you don't like it. That way you're not wasting the complete 12-pack. That had happened to a viewer, and I sort of feel bad about that, but it also happened with me with the Pepsi Fire. God, that was horrible. Cinnamon Pepsi. Bought a 12-pack, and it took me 2 months to drink it. I made myself drink it. I didn't want to throw it away. It was horrible. Tasted better when it was frozen. But we're not reviewing soda or pop, depending on what part of the country you're from. I'm from Ohio, so we call it pop back there. Originally from the Columbus area. I lived in a village called Sunbury. So hello everybody from Ohio who may be watching. I miss Ohio. Really do. So Bazooka. Let me know what you think about him down in the comments. I really want to know, honestly. You know, I want to know anything that you think about the video, but especially what you feel like and don't like about this bazooka. And please be candid. Don't like it because I like it or it's a popular thing, or don't dislike it because it's a popular thing. I want to know your honest opinion about him. And I'm not ashamed to admit that I like it. I like the weird things, like I mentioned. The colors I like. The pants I like especially because they're a little more military, but I like the color that they chose for his jacket of Monkey Wrench, my all-time favorite dreadnought. His vest was made of that color, and I just like Bazooka. I mean, like he's the comedy relief, especially the episode where he was. They sort of had him the star of that show where he spotted a sea monster, which was a mechanical sea dragon, and of course the typical scenario every time he called out for help,
about the sea monster, Alpine and others would run over and it would be gone. But see, Bazooka is just such a lovable character. One of my brothers, Eric, really likes Bazooka too. All right, so let's go ahead and get in to my favorite segment of the show, Byron's Right. Yes, sirree. He's out there. If you're looking for him on the aftermarket, you'll find him out there, but like everything, the price has gone up. And this is just within the past 3 months, I've noticed that the price on Battle Core is going up. And before, you could get the 90s figures a little bit cheaper, but not so much anymore. And if you're just now joining me or a new subscriber, I take these prices right off of eBay. I know there are several other sites where you could get them cheaper, hopefully, and it's just eBay that I base these prices off of. It would take me a very long time, and this segment would just run on forever if I got every price that was listed, so I just narrowed it down to one. And I'm not saying this to insult eBay, which I am not. I don't do that on this show. It's not about discrediting anyone or anything. I do this more to help everybody out with the prices, so you know what to expect to pay, what's a good price, what isn't a good price. So when I started collecting again, I wasn't sure what a decent price would be, because they're all over the map. The spectrum is just, it's huge. And this would have helped me out if other viewers had done this, but I'm glad I've started doing it to help you guys out. So I did get burned a few times on action figures where I had purchased it for a certain price and found it much cheaper elsewhere. And I don't want you guys to run into that same thing. So, getting into it, Bazooka alone, incomplete, loose, $4.50. Not bad at all. It'd be great to buy them and use them for parts, or to customize, or try to build him up cheaper, which may help giving the price of his accessories. The figure stand will be the hardest if you want him 100% complete. A lot of collectors keep the figure stands. So he's $4.50 to $14.99. $14.99 just for Sergeant Mr. David Katzenbogen, fisherman extraordinaire. I want to go fishing. $14.99 for this guy. Absolutely not. Really, $14.99? You're not sitting on a pot of gold. He's not at the end of the rainbow. $14.99. And I've said this, and I'll keep on saying it. Just because it says G.I. Joe does not make it valuable. Yes, G.I. Joe is popular, but come on, people. Stop being so blasted greedy. Give people a chance. Give the kids a chance who are starting to collect. And that's what this is about. About preserving this toy line, not for us old farts, but for our children, so they could get away from their devices, their video games, their iPads, their cell phones. Get away from those devices that don't really inspire creativity, and
are playing with these toys. And this is so cool that I've noticed that more and more collectors are sharing these with their children. I know my daughter loved to play with action figures when she was little, and now she collects them. She really loves Star Wars and Funko Pops. So I've introduced a toy line to my daughter. I'm passing this on. So also make it cheaper for those families, for the individual who has a family who's just barely making it, so they could afford to purchase these toys and share them with their children, and so they could have the joy of collecting again. So if you want one near complete, he kind of has a few accessories with him. $6.99 to $12.50. $12.50 is a little bit on the higher end of the spectrum, but it's certainly not $14.99. $12.50, because you could buy his accessories cheaper and complete him. So his gun is $1.65 to $2. And what I mean by gun is either of these three. That's what they're going for. $1.65 to $2. $2 is a little bit high, but it would be worth it to build this action figure. What I mean by build is buy him nearly complete and just buy his accessories later on. His missile, 99 cents. Watch out for shipping when people have them that low, because sometimes they'll hit you hard on shipping. The highest I saw on shipping for something that's 99 cents was $7.50. And that is extraordinarily too high. At most, I would think $3.50 for to mail this. Just put it in a padded envelope and mail it. You definitely don't want to put this in an envelope. For one, it won't go through the stamping machine, and for another, just being handled, it could poke through the envelope and it just shows that you don't care. So padded envelope, definitely. His rocket launcher, 99 cents. Pretty good deal. If I were a kid and I didn't have the rockets, this is still, in my opinion, a workable accessory. Still pretend that it's shooting. His file card, $2.54 to $5.47. $5.47 is a bit much for this file card. I think for this whole action figure 7 months ago, I bought him as is from Toy Anxiety, a vintage toy store that I was put on to here in the Phoenix area. I paid $11 for it 7 months ago. So yeah, $5.47 is a bit high for the file card, but if you're wanting to complete it, it's, you know, just weigh your pros and cons. His rocket launcher with both missiles, $2.50. Not bad at all. That is very nice. There is one being sold from the UK in the Action Force. He is 100% complete. $19.32, but it's like $12.50 for shipping. It's going overseas. They have to fly it, so yeah, $12.50 is a bit much. Well, I shouldn't say a bit much. That's reasonable. And he's no different in the Action Force style than he is, or under the Action Force brand than he is in the Hasbro. So yeah, I wouldn't mind buying one that came from the UK. That way I say this is Action Force. I would keep the envelope with it as verification. in the file card as well. So, complete. $13. That's with the figure stand. That is the deal of the day on this one. To $19.99, and $19.99 is pretty good. I mean, it's not great, but it's decent. But $13 is the deal of the day on that. So, there you have it, my friends. Bazooka version 3 of the Battle Core line. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. If not, thumbs down is good too. It shows me that I need to improve. I use these as constructive criticism. Also, it lets YouTube know that my channel's being watched. The comments also, I really love. I love contacting you guys and communicating with you. Also, I'm on Coffee, so if you feel like just leave me a tip, that would be great. The money goes into the channel, and you'll be listed as a channel supporter, and I will be holding drawings, specific drawings for my channel supporters alone. Also, I'm on Twitter. Go ahead and look me up on Twitter under Joe Motion Videos 82. Follow me and join the club out there. There's a great community on Twitter. We share pictures, share information, turn to each other for help, and that has been a wealth of information out there. Every collector has been so helpful. I haven't run into anybody in the collector community who is actually a hater. There are some that are that really critique, and that's great. It shows their passion. But I haven't run into anybody in the community who says anything bad about another collector because of their collection. And the old adage, if you don't have anything good to say, keep it to yourself. But there are those out there who do that, and I just don't associate with people who are like that. It's just not healthy. So anyway, guys, I really appreciate you tuning into my channel. Your support means the world to me. Seeing my subscription numbers go up, that just makes my day. I really appreciate that. I have the best group of followers out there. You guys are awesome. I really do appreciate you. I'm only $240 away from my next giveaway, and $240 would hopefully come pretty quick, so I have another great toy to give away, and I know that you guys will really like it. So this has been Joe Motion Videos 82 signing off. You guys have a wonderful day. Don't forget to be kind to everyone and be kind to animals. We'll talk to you later. Bye bye.